Please don't look at the time or second guess your feet on the floor. 'Cause how many nights will we have like this? And maybe tonight will be ours. If everything's bound to fade with age, then maybe tonight is the stage. So how about you and me, here contemplating, how can it be this real? This real?
I want you to hold me, still extend my love will bud upon his hat. Lady Macbeth loves her man, her man, her man. I want you to hold me, still unfixed, still unfixed. The daylight, darkness in a glass. Can you ever come back? Can you ever come back? I want you to hold me, but she's your night, and she called you out. She called you out. Maybe I'm his girlfriend, maybe I am, maybe I am, maybe I'm not. The last letter of an endless alphabet. And she'd like to tell them disappointing things about you, but they're so silly and untrue. She'd have to say the ones about herself. The room's fields of trance, the rooms, the rooms, the rooms, and spontaneous flux it'll be our last. There must be a more beautiful way. Find an artistic control. Artistic control.
Shiver by the time you notice. Water running with my daughter while you hurry find a motive. I rarely help her with emotions. You touch her where I used to. I just need a moment till the new one finally surfaces. I'd love to meet him. Can I study his observances? You live in houses made of furnaces. Catching feelings off of curses, and it's all in my head. This could all be my fault. I've been wondering, do we deserve this? A quick kiss just before leaving home, following the headlights it leads to. In my closet, mine, 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 mine. In my closet, mine, 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 in mine. And it's golden every minute of the hand goes round. My hands down. It's the early afternoon, sweet as golden brown. Your shirt's down, and you utter, I've been absent. Then you stick me up with ribbons. How the hell do we get trapped here? I was filled with inhibition, swashing through the air, even poisoned if it's in remembrance of you. In my closet, mine, 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 mine. In my closet, mine, 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 mine. In my closet, mine, 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 smaller than a step stool. She's ballin' harder than the bulls that lay rugs on my floors. My shrunken ruby strikes a mean chord. My toothpick pocket rocky, don't eat a lot of Takis, or not much at all. My bottom dollar rhombus was singing out to pump us. Well, my baby's smaller than a step stool. You could almost sit her in a chair. I don't dare stare my shrunken sweetie on a bumpy ride. She'd die, you know it. Seesaw, the seesaws, her up and off beyond all. Lighter than air, she's ballers ballin'. Told ya, she's a hot air ballooner, messing you. Jump, pump up my ruby, pump up my ruby. Jump, pump up my ruby, pump it up. Oh, my baby's smaller than a step stool. You could almost sit her in a chair. I don't dare stare my shrunken sweetie on a bumpy ride. She'd die, you know it. Jump, pump up my ruby, pump up my ruby. Jump, pump up my ruby, pump it up. My baby's smaller than a step stool. You could almost sit her in a chair. I don't dare stare my shrunken sweetie on a bumpy ride. She'd die, you know it. The ocean hums with a quiet tone, a place where the heart feels less alone. The sand holds secrets in every grain, whispering softly to ease the pain. Waves of silence, a soothing balm, a melody folding into calm. Echoes carry dreams untold, healing wounds both young and old. A breeze chants riddles through the pine, like ancient poets sculpting time. The moonlit path feels soft and white. Stars above will be young and old. Let shadows fade and skies turn new. Open your heart to morning's dew. Each ticking second, a chance to mend life's fragile thread will always bend. Waves of silence, a soothing balm, a melody folding into calm. Echoes carry dreams untold, healing wounds both young and old. Underneath the moon's tender light, whisper secrets of the night. Shadows dance in soft embrace, holding dreams in a quiet pace. Gentle winds through window creep, a lullaby for those who sleep. Stars that wink from high above, wrapping hearts in silent love. Every whisper holds a truth, hidden gems of tender youth. In the darkness we confide, in the night our souls collide. Velvet skies and midnight blue, every breath a song renewed. Soft as feathers, time takes flight, wishing wells in depths of night. Lost in moments barely seen, all that's left and what has been. Light the candles, let us dream. Life is more than it may seem. Every whisper holds a truth, hidden gems of tender youth. In the darkness We confide in the night, our souls collide. Enjoy your smooth ride. Why save your pennies for a rainy day? Why not treat yourself to some splurge and less affair? You work so hard and deserve a break. In a world of bad news, you could use some good news. So just enjoy your smooth ride. Got 2 walls full of stripes. There's something smooth about keeping an eye, pushing for smooth riders. Will slide us down the line. It's not grim, 'cause we said we'd win by 9. You can't spend too much when you pay the price. There's an art to parking for cheap, but first class isn't free. Each jump skipped off costs a trampoline. And can't you hear how easy the keys scream? Say enjoy your smooth ride. The smile's the same every time. If you want to experience heaven on this side, keep your fork straight for hunger. They'll bump us further down the line. It's not grim, 'cause we said we'd win by 9. So enjoy your smooth ride. Her smile's the same every time. If you can keep judgment off of your mind, straighten your lines, show them you're not shy. You'll still look smooth when you're disqualified. Grocery shopping's better when you're looking fine. So wear your heels, not rubber wheels, when you walk round the aisles. As you reach for the coffee grounds, remember to smile and say, city lights are fading, they're falling into night. We walk through empty streets where shadows hold us tight. Your hand is warm in mine, it feels just like a dream. Soft whispers fill the air beneath the silver beam. We find a lonely bench beneath the old oak tree. The stars are all above, like a blanket we can't see. Your laugh is like a song, it dances in the breeze. In the quiet of the night, my heart is at ease. Moonlight whispers softly in the still of night. Every word you say makes everything feel right. Underneath the starlit skies, we lose track of time. Moonlight whispers promise you'll always be mine. every sound. The world just disappears when you're around. Each fleeting moment's magic, it's more than I can share. In the moonlight's glow, I find you everywhere. Moonlight whispers softly in the still of night. Every word you say makes everything feel right. Underneath the starlit skies, we lose track of time. Moonlight whispers promise you'll always be mine. Time moves slowly when we're wrapped in moon's embrace. Lost in silent wonder, I forget this place. Every breath's a story, every laugh's a sign. In this world of whispers, you're forever mine. Time moves slowly when we're wrapped in moon's embrace. Lost in silent wonder, I forget this place. Every breath's a story, every laugh's a sign. In this world of whispers, you're forever mine. Stitch by stitch we mend the night. Needles whisper soft and light. Threads that bind in gentle glow. In the stillness love will grow. Fabric worn yet still it holds. Tales of us in threads of gold. Hands that guide through tangled lines. In the silence hearts entwine. Whisper secrets soft and low. In the fabric let them flow. Slowly sewing dreams we weave. In each cross a love receives. Honeymoon in blue Hawaii, wild dog calling in the misty rain. Every tongued eye spy on the white skin of this transit union. Like a feathered arrow I am down in the cavern of this moment, this slipstream travelogue of erotic noble savages. Honeymoon in blue Hawaii, whale cow crying in the molten sea. Mama's service house faking family. Of this proffered union, like a feathered arrow I am down in the cavern of this moment. Honeymoon in blue Hawaii, honeymoon in blue Hawaii, honeymoon in blue Hawaii, honeymoon in blue Hawaii, honeymoon in blue Hawaii.
I found my heart in the sound of rain, each drop a note in a soft refrain, a melody whispered by the sky, a song of healing floating by. The wind, it hums through branches bare, a gentle hand that strokes the air. The leaves, they dance a quiet praise to fleeting time and endless days. Lie down, love, feel the earth sigh. Close your eyes, let the static die. The world will spin with or without haste, but now just breathe and know your place. The earth hums low beneath your feet. In this moment, the chaos retreats. Your heart syncs up with the planet's drum. A slow embrace, no need to run. Clouds drift lazily across the blue, each one a thought passing through. Let them go, no need to hold tight. They're just shadows cast by the light. Lie down, love, feel the earth sigh. Close your eyes, let the static die. The world will spin with or without haste, but now just breathe and know your place.
drips like honey on the sea. Each wave a whisper calling out to me. The silence hums a tune I've never known, a melody caught in the undertow. I trace the stars like pages in a book, each one a verse from heaven's quiet nook. The breeze it sighs like poets long asleep, 1,000 dreams the sky is left to keep. In the stillness I find my rest, each heart beats slower than the last breath. The night sings soft, the world's caress. In the stillness I mend what's left. Shadows stretch like fingers on the land, painting pictures only time can understand. I walk alone but feel the earth's embrace, each step a story written into space. The cold wraps me like an old friend's coat, while echoes from the canyon softly float. Every tear falls down like summer rain, washing wounds I thought would leave a stain. In the stillness I find my rest, each heart beats slower than the last breath. The night sings soft, the world's caress. In the stillness I mend what's left. everything. My head was buried in the sand. I never thought I'd love someone. I thought that I'd lose you, but you were my everything. My head was buried in the sand, and even now I don't love you like I used to. And dear Father, how do I love her? I don't deserve her. And when I look into her eyes, I see my future. And I know I'm not worthy of that. She don't deserve